Let's do another edition here of Goz on the Go. All the sports talk you need in less than 40 minutes. Before we get into the sports talk from the week, we got to tell you about the people that make this possible, like our friends over at Mohawk Honda, the Plate Change Challenge. If you're listening to this on Thursday morning, head over to Mohawk Honda's Facebook page where you can watch the best from the Mohawk family compete to find out who is the champion for 2022, the Plate Change Challenge. It's been awesome getting to show off some of the personalities of the people that can help get you into a new vehicle. And remember, this spring, it's about the Kelly Blue Book offer. Show up to Mohawk Honda, and you can drive off the lot with not just a new vehicle, but with money in your hand. How good does that feel? Trade it in your vehicle and get cash in your pocket? You cannot beat that this spring. Kelly Blue Book offer, thanks to Mohawk Honda, happening in Glenville, New York. You know, I love the crew over at Mohawk Honda. I love my new ride, 2022 Pilot EXL, the features, the room, and more. It's exactly what you want. Fitting your lifestyle, your budget, working with great people, the whole crew from Greg Johnson to Lindsey Harden to Brian and Cam McKenna to MJ, everybody over there. Hot Sauce, the VIP man. You can go through all the great nicknames the guys could be. Travis Landry, the Upset, all that stuff there, man, that having the Plate Change Challenge. It's Mohawk Honda, Glenville, New York. Check them out on social media platforms where they always go out of their way to please you. And our friends over at Lily and David Fine Jewelers. Guys, the spring is here. You've got Easter on the way. You've got Mother's Day on the way. Maybe you've got that past spring wedding. You're celebrating some anniversaries. Get her something special this year with Lily and David Fine Jewelers at the Shoppes of Wilton. Off of Route 50, you make the drive over there and you talk to Alyssa, David, whoever might be working with you, and find out exactly what she's looking for. You probably have no idea what that even means, what she actually wants to have. I know I did it. When I stopped in a Lily and David Fine Jewelers and tried buying the engagement ring, tried buying the Christmas gift, I had to work with Alyssa and David to figure out exactly what my now wife was looking for. Formerly the girlfriend, the fiance, now wife. It happens all because of Lily and David Fine Jewelers. Find that ring you're going to continue to get compliments on for years to come. How good does that make you feel when you're going out and someone still compliments your wife's ring, even though you've been engaged and married for months and years? It can happen for you at Lily and David Fine Jewelers. Alyssa and David, we joked around. Maybe Alyssa will do the proposal for you. I have to pay extra for that, though. Shoppes of Wilton is their new location off of Route 50. You drive in, you walk in, and see the great selection they have. Seen it, visited just a few months ago. Trust me, they're going to have exactly what you want in the store. It's Lily and David Fine Jewelers, the new spot, the Shoppes of Wilton. Follow them on Facebook as well for more updates. Lily and David Fine Jewelers, family owned and operated. And we walk in, tell me you heard about Goz's story right here from Goz On The Go. All right, let's do it. Some sports talk from the week, the first week of April. Hey, how WWE coming out of the gates on this one? WrestleMania, memorable moments, the emotion, the feel, the fans. That's all the stuff you want out of WrestleMania. WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble have this unique thing that can happen where if you are hanging out at somebody's house, you get pizza, get a few drinks, you throw it on the television. When you can have the casual fan, the diehard fan, the fan in between, all invested in what's happening inside the ring of the entertainment, that is a win. How about like a match like Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn? Felt like the match was too long, but it was entertaining. What about Pat McAfee stealing the show on night 2? So if you don't even know who Pat McAfee is, you might know him as the Indianapolis Colts punter or the SmackDown broadcaster or the popular podcast and radio host. Any combination of those fans watched him do what he did, but you might not know Austin Theory. Now you do. Oh, that guy who wrestled McAfee in the ring? You know who Vince McMahon is. You know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. You're able to connect all these different audiences with these matches. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. There was something on the card that anybody could connect to. Even Logan Paul, Jake Paul, all the Paul brothers, Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio. You get the point. WrestleMania. We go back and start ranking really good WrestleManias. This one felt just as good as any WrestleMania the past 10 years. Top to bottom. That combination of both two nights, and Levac and Gosh, shout out to that podcast. Levac didn't like the idea of 2 nights because it's a lot to invest in, no doubt. But when you had 6 or 7 hour shows, that's even more to invest because you got to keep that energy up for the entire time. This feels like the best WrestleMania since the one out in California when Seth Rollins cashed in the Money in the Bank. But to that comparison of some fans might have not known what the hell was going on, it wasn't as exciting for them. But you're going to finish like you did for Roman Reigns, you going to finish like Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin in night one? One of the best WrestleManias you could ask for. Oh, and by the way, I haven't even mentioned Cody Rhodes. From the debut and the music, the American Nightmare and everything else, it felt great to watch that redemption story. As good as Sunday and Saturday were, I love the opening promo to Raw on Monday, where Cody Rhodes started to tell his story. If you'd forgotten what it was from 6 years ago in the past, you get a little bit of a reset there for Cody and what he was hoping for. To claim something his father, the American dream, the late Dusty Rhodes, never could. Great stuff from the WWE. You can criticize the WWE for 10 months out of the year. They're not using this person, guy or girl, enough. The storyline stinks. It's hard. It's difficult for doing it for 40 years for weekly episodic television to not have mistakes. But they nailed WrestleMania. Loved it. Top to bottom, there's matches I'd actually go back and watch again, and that's the biggest compliment you can offer up. I would go back and watch that again, from the entrance to the finish and more. WrestleMania 38, a success for the WWE. Not the only sporting event this past week that success and a championship and a celebration can happen. Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk. Oh, felt like a WWE announcer right there. The Kansas Jayhawks, the 2022 national champions, in the greatest comeback in national championship game history. Down by 15, 16. Hell, it felt like 40. Kansas could not score in the first half, but they're able to have one of the true remarkable runs in scoring 31 points in 10 minutes in the second half. 31 points in 10 minutes out loud even sounds more ridiculous. Pacing for 124 and a 35-second shot clock game in college hoops in 2022. Kansas had all the cliche things he wanted. Super seniors, Hall of Fame coach, tested during the regular season. Armando Bacon, the moment that's gone viral on the internet of stepping on the hardwood floor that pops off the elevated court and everything else, how different the world could have been without that. But it's more about what the Jayhawks did, what Carolina didn't do. Because those super seniors on those teams, the teams that had the players that were experienced, right, 5-6 years, a team that knew how to play good basketball together. They didn't have a National Player of the Year candidate like we've seen, and some would argue that maybe they did. No, McCormick's a fine player. She's a fine player too. But Armando Bacon was the best player on the floor. Kansas found a way to balance it, going back and forth between guard play and good inside play, to being physical but not getting blown for whistles and more. And Bill Self looked like a different guy than he did 15 years ago. That 2018, or 14 years ago, when they had that shocking come-from-behind victory against Memphis when they were down 9 with 2 minutes to go and Memphis couldn't make any free throws. Mario Chalmers, Stephen A. Smith used to say. Kansas became the number 1 seed that went the distance to win the championship. And maybe those are the lessons we have to learn here for the next season of college basketball. And even when we're filling out our brackets, no one ever pushed against the idea that Kansas had the easiest path to the Final Four of the 1 seeds. So why didn't more people have Kansas in their Final Four? Oh, a Hall of Fame coach? Oh, the best conference, the Big 12? People wanted to go with the sexy picks like Arizona, who hasn't gone to a Final Four in 20-plus years. They want to go with Gonzaga, who's continued to underachieve. And if you go back to April of 2021's Goz On The Go, we talk about Gonzaga being one of the biggest chokers in sports, right up there with the Buffalo Bills, right up there with Greg Norman and everybody else. They decided to go that way. Duke, close, but they get beat by North Carolina. You went with the team in Kansas that had all the experience. Now, quickly back to Carolina, though. Let's not underestimate what they did as an 8th seed. They became one of the best teams in college basketball. Hubert Davis deserves the credit and more for pushing his team to that level. Just the team brand name, North Carolina. That number to their left for some doesn't matter because it's still the Tar Heels that are taking the floor. The talent is always going to be there. But to defeat Duke twice in Coach K's final season, to get within a few minutes of winning a national championship, a few made buckets and year crowned champs, hats off to North Carolina. We can't even do the classic of will they be back? Of course they're going to be back. They're North Carolina. Of course we'll see the Tar Heels back. So college basketball fans, my guy Closer, my guy Brady Farkas, I know Colin Cowherd, we've had this take before. It's good to reset it one more time that Some people like seeing the upsets on Thursday, Friday, and want to see the Blue Bloods in the Final Four because of attendance and excitement and quality of play. You got that this year. Great game between North Carolina and Duke. Fantastic game between Kansas and Villanova. And one of the great come from behind, if not the greatest, second half of basketball action you wanted to see as a fan. Carolina fan had a second heartbreak. Chris Jenkins back in 2016. Now they suffered this one. But college basketball is better for everything that happened in the 2022 March Madness tournament, hitting that one shining moment. But from the tournament getting canceled in 2020 to the Indiana Invitational in 2021 that did their best to make it feel like March Madness, but it felt like something was missing, to what we got in 2022, it is back officially March Madness, the way we've been used to it growing up. Oh, for the second time, the end of the segment, and oh, by the way, ... Albany, Capital Region, you'll be hosting the round of 64 and the round of 32 in 2023. So get ready. If you're a fan of Colgate, Syracuse, Albany, technically, sort of, probably not by that time with the NCAA rules. Siena can't because they play home games there and everything else. But if you've got Vermont, if you've got a connection to the Capital Region, and you're a sports fan, if you're listening to this in Rochester, to Geneva, to Syracuse, Watertown, Lake George, make the trip, support it, go out and see the madness in person this upcoming 2023 tournament. March Madness, the best sporting event, and it lived up to the hype this year. Major League Baseball full season preview. We're going to do the full picks online at GozillaMedia.com if you've got questions and more. But a little tease here. We're going to give you the World Series champion, the World Series representatives from the American League and the National League, and how the New York teams are going to fare. Where will the Yankees and the Mets fare in their respective divisions, the AL East and the NL East? Let's start there. Let's start with the New York teams. The Yankees, they're the fourth best team in the AL East. Since I've moved out to the Capital Region, the coverage of the Yankees is far different than what it is in Central New York and Syracuse. I know there's a tons of Yankee fans in Utica and that Central New York area, but it's a little bit different when it comes to Albany because that is the team. With no disrespect to the Great Danes or the Saints or the Empire or Patroons, the Yankees are the most popular team here in the area. And this is the most competitive American League East top to bottom since I moved out here to Albany in 2015. All right, get your Oriole jokes in now. Pause it. Ha ha. At Tom Goz, TOMG is easy. How bad the Orioles are, and they're really, really bad. But that top four is great. Rays, Red Sox, Yankees, and Blue Jays. So how can I make an argument that the Blue Jays, Rays, or Red Sox will finish behind the Yankees? I can't. The Blue Jays were more active this offseason. They were contenders for the playoffs. They have a younger lineup that's been effective. The Rays have found their own method and ways in which they win. They don't go out and bring in the big-time arm or big-time bat. They build through the farm system and know the style of baseball they want to play, although it ruins baseball. The Red Sox were a team last year that you could put in the conversation of the team that overachieved the most. Most Red Sox fans thought they'd be a 500 team, and instead, they're a few wins away from the World Series. What did the Yankees get better at? They traded away Sanchez. Some would say that's an improvement. Clint Frazier is no longer there. Okay. What? All right. Who did they bring in? Is it Josh Donaldson? Is that good enough? Is it good enough to be contenders in the AL East? They have the fourth most talented roster. So Yankee fan, I have to pick you fourth. What would put them over the top? Judge playing a full season? Maybe, but that hasn't happened. Stanton improving his play? We've been talking about that since the moment he signed his contract. Well, how many wins do you want out of Garrett Cole? Undefeated? Like, Yankee fan wants Garrett Cole to go undefeated. Jordan Montgomery's coming off of Tommy John surgery from a few years ago. He might not be the same pitcher he was before. Severino has never been the guy, even though he was a top 5 contender for the Cy Young. Brian Cashman is going to go down with this ship. Brian Cashman said, these are the guys who are going to help us win. It's going to happen. This is the lineup of the Yankees in 2017. As Cashman went out publicly and talked about, he felt like he would have won a World Series if the Astros weren't cheating. Maybe. Maybe not. Can't really prove that. This was the take. It felt like the Yankees were only going to get better, that they were projected for the future to be the team to beat in the American League East. However, the future caught up. So, Yankee fan, I've got you fourth in the American League East because I can't find a really strong case when it comes to consistent play, top to bottom pitching, and age that benefits the Yankees in comparison to the Blue Jays, Rays, or Red Sox. For Mets fans, where's your squad going to finish in the National League East? How about first? Yeah, that's right. I got the Mets winning the NL East. And for the reason why I have the Mets winning the NL East is basically the opposite of the reason why I picked the Yankees. They were active. They brought in a Hall of Fame pitcher in Max Scherzer. They continue to see a young lineup like Pete Alonso be effective. Starling Marte, yeah, he's there. Francisco Lindor, oh yeah, he's there too. Uncle Steve Cohen has showed off that he wants to spend some cash in whatever it takes to make the Mets a World Series champion. He's willing to do it. Luxury tax, sure. Go ahead. Whatever. Do we got to change the name of the luxury tax to stop it and call it the Cohen luxury tax so people all of a sudden look around and be like, Steve, stop. Stop doing this. You can't keep making all these moves. That is the greatest compliment. Coming off a Yankee Met comparison, George Steinbrenner's looking around like that was a thing. Feels like I was about to do a Hamilton reference about the King. I'll just make you look that one up. The Mets are the best team in the National League East. They've caught the Braves. They've caught the Phillies. This is the team to beat. Now, the question comes down to Jacob deGrom. I've told you on multiple platforms here on Gozilla Media, why is the number only 12.5 for over-under wins for deGrom? That scares me. We should be like 14 or 15 to make it feel, oh, that makes more sense for deGrom. You give me that pitching staff for the New York Mets. You give me power in the lineup. The Braves, they weren't the favorite to win the National League in the World Series last season. The Phillies haven't been able to piece it together quite yet, although that lineup was stacked the moment they signed Bryce Harper. They have not risen to the top of the division. Give me the New York Mets to win the NL East. So I got the Yankees in fourth, the Mets in first. What is the World Series? Who wins all that? Division winners and playoff teams will be posted again likely Friday, maybe Monday. Got some things going on, either Friday or Monday. Division winners, that stuff will be posted Friday. World Series. The Toronto Blue Jays versus the New York Mets. Have I fallen into the trap? Have I fallen into the trap that these teams were just so active in the offseason that I'm buying into the hype? That's all they had to do for me is go spend, and you made the moves you needed to move, and all of a sudden, now you're a World Series contender. Yes, simple and easy as that. The Red Sox have gone to the World Series. The Rays have gone to the World Series. The Nationals won. The Braves won. So now these teams that are in competitive divisions have now risen to the top of their division, and they feel like they are the teams to beat in the National League and the American League. For the AL side, right? Like, if not the Blue Jays, then who? Same thing from the National League side. I know the Dodgers is being talked about as the greatest lineup in the history of baseball, and you can't pick against them, blah, blah, blah. Corey Seager is not there. Corey Seager is not playing for LA. And for that same reason about the Yankees not finishing the deal, and for these other teams we've already went through who don't finish the deal, the Dodgers got one. The Dodgers could have had 5 World Series champions. They could have a dynasty now. They could have punched through. They didn't beat Houston. They got 1 World Series championship, and I know you're like, oh, only 1? How many years in a row have we thought the Dodgers are going to win and it hasn't happened? So why am I giving them the benefit of the doubt in 2022? Blue Jays, Mets, and the New York Mets win the World Series. The New York Mets are going to win it all in 2022. Mets fans, celebrate. It's going to happen. Uncle Steve Cohen does it. The New York Mets, 2022 World Series champions. My guy Omen on Twitter is going to be filed up. My guy Bags on Twitter. The Mets fans are going to unite. The Mets are winning the World Series. We're getting closer and closer to the NBA playoffs. We're going to do that double show where we get to offer up all the picks for the NHL and the NBA. Double playoff show is coming later on here in the month of April. That's going to be a lot of fun. That might take up like 75% of the Goz On The Go. We're not there yet. Knicks Nets is just finished before we went to record here, and the Nets have a come-from-behind victory, and they beat New York, double-digit victory. Both teams, when you look at their win-loss record, are not where they hope to be in 2022, but the Nets overall as a team, because of COVID restrictions changing, kind of, sort of, are still going to be a team nobody wants to face in the playoffs because of the talent of Kevin Durant and the talent of Kyrie Irving. And the New York Knicks are a team that missed the playoffs. I wish I could have done that bet and gone back and said, I can guarantee you the Knicks aren't going to make the playoffs. I wish I'd cashed that ticket. It was my big take from earlier in the NBA, the bold take for the NBA season that the Knicks weren't going to make it. Sure enough, I could have cashed that ticket. But more about that game was the attention. Rather than breaking down the X's and O's of what happened in what unfortunately can be deemed as a meaningless game in the span of things that are the NBA and the playoff battle, and some weak term to use, how about the coverage? ESPN, ESPN2, WFAN, ESPN New York, SN. Andrew Marchand had this. Like 8 different networks all had the same game on. As Andrew Marchand called it, who covers media for the New York Post, the glory days of watching television. Is it, though? I feel like you should have more options than 8 styles in which you can listen and watch a game. Nonetheless, the Nets showed that they're a power. The Knicks season's done. They're going to figure out they got to make moves. Tom Thibodeau, right? That's the tired storyline. Make moves, blah, blah, blah. As much as I wish I had more to talk about for the New York teams and being relevant, I know the Hawks with Kevin Huerter are out there. They're going to get a chance to do the 7, 8, 9 game with the Cavs, and Hornets are also in the mix. And the Cavs, man, if they didn't suffer some injuries, how different that season could have gone. I'm more intrigued, like everybody else is, about the West. I know you're probably sick of hearing Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless and Chris Russo and Stephen A. Smith talk about the Lakers, but there is something that is so intriguing about the final few days here in the season, and that the Lakers aren't making the postseason. At 31-48, you know this hurts. This burns me. Preseason, I would have loved to tell you that the Lakers were going to win the NBA championship. I had Suns and Bucks as my pick in December when I picked it at Christmas. Feel less confident about that because of how well the Sixers are playing. But the Los Angeles Lakers showed this season that age does matter. LeBron is old, played really well, had his 40-point performances here and there. Carmelo Anthony is old. Russell Westbrook never worked for this team. It was a horrendous trade from the moment it happened. It made 0 sense. Dwight Howard is old. They showed they were old. Now, offensively, they can still be productive. Dwight Howard rebounded. I remember a game a few months ago against the Clippers. He had a double-double in the first half. Now, offensively, they can be fine, but they got to go out and cover guys. Everybody can shoot in the NBA. Everybody can shoot threes. The Lakers never wanted to cover. But it's more about the legacy, right? Those pictures that have gone viral of LeBron James talking about defending his team and no one talking trash about him. And the New Orleans Pelicans saying that's all, folks, by trailing Anthony Davis like he did for his final game for the Pelicans and everything else. This might be it for everybody. LeBron James has been in the league since 2003. Carmelo's been in the league since 2003. Dwight Howard's 2004. Then Emeka Okafor draft. How long are we going to say they're contenders? They're good. They're great. 20 years has passed for these guys being in the league if you talk about playoff games as well. It just happens that way. How long are we going to do the LeBron can carry a team? LeBron on a roster, Russell Westbrook on a roster can change it. It's just done. Devin Booker can shoot for the Suns. The Grizzlies won without Ja Morant. Luka's on Dallas. Jokic is on Denver. We get it, right? Like it's over for LA. Retire. It's done. You might have heard this expression in business before. Sports coaches love to use it. Did you get better today? Did you make sales calls? Did you connect? Did you network? Did you place something on whether it be a website, a new lead? Did you get better today? Sports, it's easy to figure that out. Did you condition? Did you learn the playbook? Did you run a route? Did you build chemistry with your teammates? Did you get better on the field, ice, court, whatever it might be? Easy for coaches, a little harder for businesses, but you get the point. The Buffalo Bills got better today. They signed Stephon Diggs. 4 years, $104 million deal till 2028. $70 million guaranteed. The Bills, the franchise, looked like a team continuing to compete for a Super Bowl spot. Look at the offseason, right? Tyreek Hill has the big deal with the Dolphins. Devontae Adams gets the big deal with the Raiders, and Raider fan and Chief fan and Dolphin fan, all three can say they got better. The Raiders look at the AFC West and look at how competitive it's going to be this season. The Packers overall as a team thought that maybe it was time to move on, but we'll find younger weapons that make more salary cap sense. Same for the Chiefs. We've got Mahomes, we've got Rodgers, and we've got cap space. We trust these guys will make them the offense rather than the wide receivers of the offense. But Buffalo had to make a move. Buffalo and Kansas City battled in one of the great playoff games of all time. Besides a coin flip, what else do Bills fans want to see that team get better? They're so close. And this is what makes the team better for the future. Not risking the potential of bad wide receiver contracts out there and overpaid people that Diggs' price gets too high that doesn't make sense. Lock it down. Talked about Lily and David Fine Jewelers earlier. Go over to the Shoppes of Wilton off Route 50 and lock it down for Stephon Diggs. So the Bills got better. Man, it makes me feel like I want to do predictions for the NFL season. Oh, the NFL draft's just a few weeks away. The Iron's Edge is where we're going to be this year. More details to come. Looking forward to promoting that and more. The Iron's Edge. Check them out on Facebook. Our party, 6:30 to 8. Levac and Goz, and more details on the way for the Gozilla Media wide NFL draft party. There you go. I just basically broke it right there. You won't see a lot of promotion on social media until the Iron's Edge actually opens. It's a lot of E's right there. Iron's Edge actually opens. Tongue twister. And then you'll see more NFL draft promotions. But man, the Bills, why can't you argue that it's the best signing of the offseason? We just ran through all those, right? With the trades involving Hill and Adams, that there's risk involved. There's risk involved with Russell Wilson if he's the same quarterback for Denver, but again, a trade. Aaron Rodgers, we get that, but is he too old? Is eventually Father Time going to catch up to Rodgers? You've paid him a stupid amount of money. There feels like there's risk involved in all of these signings, and people may not know what the true value is as a player with a new helmet and jersey on. I don't feel like there's a big risk with Stephon Diggs. The risk was, what if he walked? The risk was, what if Josh Allen's not as good in the offense with his number one target no longer? That's the risk that could have been taken. But instead, Bill said keep him around, because if it's not 2022, it's 2023. We can go down the calendar of one of these years, we're going to win the Super Bowl. One of these years, we're going to get by Kansas City. And it's going to happen because we've got the future built right here with this quarterback and wide receiver combo. To think that somebody's not even a free agent, and they, because of where the projected future of the franchise is going to go, can be argued as the best entire signing of this NFL offseason. It's almost time for your favorite part of the podcast, Weekend Wagers. Before we get into it, we got to tell you about our pal Jared Lozier, Northeastern Insurance, 518-956-3753. 518-956-3753 is his number. You want to save cash? 2022, car, home, small business, shop the market for you. It's so important to find the right quote. Jared Lozier is going to get it for you. That's the number. His email, jaredl@nemail.com. Now, Jared is a busy man. He is at the Tortuga Music Festival, according to updates. He may not get back to you, or he might. That's how much he's committed to you. But we're doing the hashtag looking for Lozier. In Latham especially, in the capital region. You see that poster of Jared's face, that big old billboard? You send me a picture at Tom Goz, TOMGOZZ, Goz at GozillaMedia.com. We will get you some type of gear. Speaking of, who is the Mitt 7? By the way, if you're listening here, Goz On The Go, the Mitt 7, you finished in third place. Email me, GOZ at GozillaMedia.com. Jared Lozier, Northeastern Insurance, saving you cash in your home, your small business, and more. Let him shop the market for you. Awesome guy. Clearly, I know far too much about his schedule. That's how much we're hanging out. Jared Lozier, Northeastern Insurance, helping you save some cash this year. All right, weekend wagers. The big weekend events, the Masters, and golf. I'm so much more of a golf fan now because of the payouts. Golf is exploding in a whole different way because you get favorites at 12 to 1, 13 to 1, 14 to 1. You can trail your golfer you bet on before and see how far it can take you and see how much money is on the line in the final holes of the Masters. All right, here are my plays. I'm going to chop it up a little bit. This is going to sound a little bit strange, but roll with me here. I got 6 bets. The old Harbor House style, I call it. Make sure you wager on your guys to finish in the top 5 or top 20, and then also to win. If they're going to win, they're going to finish in the top 20 and top 5, obviously. So don't undercut yourself. Make sure you put a little sprinkle on top 20, top 5, and then win. 2 guys I'm taking. I'm taking Rory Mcilroy. Rory's continuing to have success. He still has yet to win his Masters. I know he's not played as well as he's hoped at Augusta, but I've joked around about the clip that puts me over the top is that Rory is a Peppa Pig fan. He's a new dad, like myself, watching some Peppa Pig and some Mickey Mouse Club House. I love it. Rory Mcilroy, I'm rooting for you at 18-1. The one that's exploded is Justin Thomas. Shout out to my guy Trout over at the Hideaway. I shot him a text like, hey man, who do you like? He said Justin Thomas. Go to the internet. Fade the public. Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas's number continues to drop. What is happening with Justin Thomas? There's too much of a buzz, especially in golf, right? I know the Phenom buzz is something different. Tiger had the buzz around him in 97. Jordan Spieth had the buzz around him for his first Masters championship. There is something about a certain golfer that starts to build. I thought it was going to be Scotty Scheffler, but this is different. There is some buzz around Justin Thomas. Thomas is sitting at 13-1. So give me Justin Thomas and give me Rory and chop them up. So I go top 5 finish for Rory, win for Rory. Top 5 finish for Justin Thomas, win for Justin Thomas. I know what somebody's going to say automatically. Guys, why would you do that? You're guaranteed to lose. Okay, but the number is so high. If one of those people win, I'll make back the money I lost in the other bet. Am I hedging on myself a little bit? Sort of. Some would argue just place one bet and let it ride. Most of the time, if the numbers is that low, the math doesn't make sense. You're playing with 18-1 and 13-1. It's worth it. And what I'm also going to do is this. I'm kicking myself because I wanted to do this bet. I didn't do it. Easy to say now that Kansas won. I had him. I wanted to do Kansas, and I wanted to do my Masters pick plus the champion. So you've been listening to the podcast. You know I like the Mets to win the National League and the Mets to win the World Series. You can only do one, so maybe the small play is Mets National League win, Rory, Colorado Avalanche, and Phoenix Suns. So there's the play, right? Like something small, like $1 bet on the person you think's going to win the Masters, the team you think's going to win the American or National League, Stanley Cup, and NBA Finals. Just a fun $1 bet and see what it pays. That's it. Hell, you can wait until like the final round on Sunday and do that bet. Do Masters champ who might be off the lead, NBA champ, NHL champ, and then a team you like in the World Series. That's why I'm doing it. Mets National League, Rory, Avalanche, Suns. Oh, the payout's like over $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, depending on what app you're using. Those are my weekend wagers. Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, combined with some future wagers for some big paydays. Enjoy. It's going to be a lot of fun. Big week here at Gozilla Media. Levac and I will be broadcasting live Saturday, 2:30 to 4 from the Hideaway. It's been too long. Cannot wait to see everybody again. Enjoying some Yankees, Red Sox, Major League Baseball, and Masters coverage. Sunday, Albany Empire Media Day. Looking forward to sharing some of those interviews in the future here on different platforms on Gozilla Media and more. And again, Thursday, depending on when you're listening to this, go back and check out the Mohawk Honda and Mohawk Chevrolet Facebook page, YouTube channels, and more as I'm hosting the Plate Change Challenge Final. Shout out to Nick and Nate. All right, hopefully you got some winners coming up this week. Hopefully you enjoy a great week of sports on the way. Talk to you again next week.